As AI wars ignite, missiles fall, oil markets choke, and superpowers race for control, tonight's headlines aren't just news, they're the blueprint of a world on the edge. Welcome to Zenith Global News, your eye on a world at the breaking point. A defiant Tehran pivots toward Moscow as Iran's foreign minister declares their sovereignty is not up for negotiation. Standing before the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, India issues a stern warning. The era of war must end before it leads to mutual ruin. Of DC Glitz turns into a shootout as a gunman's target list leaves only one official untouched. Tehran offers a roadmap to peace, but Washington isn't ready to let Iran drive. The middleman in the crosshairs, Iran accuses Pakistan of being Washington's partial messenger. Japan's northern island jolts under a 6.2 magnitude quake as the shadow of a megaquake looms large. A historic bond of blood is forged in the desert as Israeli tech shields the Emirates from an Iranian firestorm. The mystery of the unknown gunman continues as another high-profile terror leader falls in Pakistan. Chokepoint at a breaking point. Iran threatens the Strait as Trump vows to keep the oil flowing. Digital blackouts and KGB ghosts, Putin's spring of discontent, meets the iron fist of the past. Now, let's dive into the details of today's biggest stories.
Grateful for Russia's solid, strong positions in support of Iran, says IRGC after meeting Putin. We stand at a historical crossroads. The events of this past February changed the map of West Asia forever. Today, as our region experiences a period of profound flux, Iran has made its position clear. Our sovereignty is not a bargaining chip. Our recent high-level engagements in St. Petersburg confirm a strategic partnership with Russia that remains unshakable, regardless of the winds of war. While we welcome Moscow's offer of mediation and their pursuit of a guaranteed peace, let it be known that we are not acting out of desperation, but out of a calculated resolve to protect our people. To the international community, we say this: diplomacy requires mutual respect, not the sudden cancellation of talks or the assumption that one side holds all the cards. We have consulted with our brothers in Pakistan and Oman to ensure the security of our waters and our borders. We remain open to a solution that ends hostilities, but we will never be silenced. Our strength is rooted in the heroism of our people, and our future will be forged through strength, not submission.
Rajnath Singh advocates dialogue, warns against era of war at SCO.
Excellencies and distinguished delegates, we gather today at a time when the temptation to rely on force is growing.
But history teaches us that the path of confrontation is a path to mutual ruin.
As members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, we represent nearly half of humanity.
With that scale comes a profound responsibility, not just to our borders, but to the global equilibrium.
India's message is clear. The world does not necessarily need a new order. It needs a more disciplined adherence to the norms we have already established.
We must ensure that disagreements do not become disputes, and disputes do not spiral into crises.
Drawing from the eternal wisdom of Mahatma Gandhi, we reaffirm that nonviolence and diplomacy remain our most potent tools.
True strength lies in cooperation, coexistence, and compassion, not in rivalry.
Let us commit ourselves to a consensus that upholds the dignity of all nations.
By prioritizing dialogue over escalation, we can ensure that the SCO becomes a beacon of peace and prosperity for the entire world.
Trump event shooter names Kash Patel as only U.S. official off-target list. A violent assassination attempt disrupted the White House Correspondents' Association dinner at the Washington Hilton on Saturday night. The suspect, 31-year-old Cole Tomas Allen, breached security and engaged in a shootout with authorities before being taken into custody. President Trump, the First Lady, and the Vice President were safely evacuated by the Secret Service. Allen, armed with 2 handguns and a shotgun, emailed a manifesto to family members minutes before the attack. In it, he outlined a hierarchy of targets consisting of high-ranking Trump administration officials with the notable exception of FBI Director Kash Patel. Allen justified the violence by claiming complicity in the administration's alleged crimes, stating that turning the other cheek while others are oppressed is unchristian. He reportedly selected buckshot ammunition to minimize collateral damage through walls, though he expressed a willingness to go through attendees to reach his targets. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro confirmed Allen faces federal firearm and assault charges, with an initial court appearance scheduled for Monday. End of war, Hormuz nukes, Iran's three-stage proposal for talks with U.S. Following the failure of a second round of talks in Pakistan, Iran has proposed a rigorous three-stage formula for any future negotiations with the United States. According to reports from Al-Madayin, the framework demands a sequential approach. Stage 1. A permanent end to the war with guarantees against future aggression toward Iran and Lebanon. Stage 2. Negotiations regarding the management of the Strait of Hormuz, a vital global oil chokepoint. Stage 3. Discussion of the nuclear issue and uranium enrichment, which remains the primary U.S. concern. White House spokesperson Olivia Wales dismissed the public proposal, asserting that the U.S. holds the cards and will not allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Tensions remain high as Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi seeks support from Russia, while President Trump has signaled a pivot away from long-distance diplomatic travel in favor of direct calls. Despite a fragile ceasefire, the conflict now, entering its second month, remains at a stalemate as both sides struggle to find common ground. Partial, lacks credibility. Iranian lawmakers' big allegation against Mediator, Pakistan. Efforts to end the two-month war between Iran and the U.S. face a diplomatic deadlock as Tehran questions Pakistan's neutrality as a mediator. Ebrahim Razaei, spokesperson for Iran's National Security Commission, labeled Islamabad an unsuitable intermediary, alleging it prioritizes American interests and fails to hold Washington accountable for unfulfilled commitments regarding Lebanon and frozen assets. Razaei emphasized that a credible mediator must be impartial, not leaning toward one side. This skepticism comes as Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi continues a diplomatic circuit through Pakistan, Oman, and Russia. Despite a pause in full-scale fighting following the February 28 strikes, significant hurdles remain. President Donald Trump has signaled an openness to direct talks via secure lines, but maintains a strict ultimatum: Iran must permanently abandon its nuclear weapon ambitions. With Iran insisting on its right to enrich uranium for peaceful purposes, the two sides remain far apart. The conflict continues to pressure global markets, driving up oil prices and fueling inflation while the search for a trusted middleman persists. 6.2 magnitude earthquake hits Japan's Hokkaido island, no tsunami alert. A series of powerful earthquakes has rattled northern Japan, heightening fears of a potential megaquake. Early Monday, a 6.2 magnitude tremor struck southern Hokkaido at a depth of 83 kilometers. While no tsunami warnings were issued and property damage was minimal, officials have warned of increased risks for landslides and falling rocks, with high chances of similar strength aftershocks this week. This latest activity follows a 7.7 magnitude earthquake off Iwate Prefecture last Monday, which injured 6 people and triggered 80-centimeter tsunami waves.
Crucially, that event prompted the Japanese Meteorological Agency to issue a rare warning. The likelihood of a megaquake of magnitude 8.0 or higher is currently elevated. As one of the world's most seismically active nations, Japan sits atop 4 major tectonic plates. The country remains deeply cautious, haunted by the 2011 9.0 magnitude quake and subsequent tsunami that devastated the Fukushima nuclear plant. Residents in northern regions are urged to remain vigilant as seismic activity continues across the archipelago. Amid Iran's attacks, UAE call for help. Israel responded with Iron Dome. In a historic first, Israel has deployed its vaunted Iron Dome air defense system to the United Arab Emirates to counter a massive barrage of Iranian attacks. Following a direct appeal from UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, an Iron Dome battery along with dozens of IDF personnel was sent to Abu Dhabi early in the conflict. The move marks the first time the system has been operationalized in a foreign country outside of the United States. The deployment proved critical. According to reports, the system successfully intercepted dozens of Iranian missiles during a sustained campaign involving 550 ballistic and cruise missiles and over 2,200 drones targeted at Emirati infrastructure. This unprecedented military coordination has solidified the strategic partnership established by the 2020 Abraham Accords. Emirati officials have expressed deep gratitude, stating they will not forget Israel's support during this existential threat. The collaboration extends beyond defense, with both nations maintaining close intelligence and political ties as the regional conflict continues to evolve. Who was Sheikh Yousuf Afridi, Lashkar terrorist shot dead by gunmen in Pakistan? Sheikh Yousuf Afridi, a high-ranking commander of the terror group Lashkar-e-Taiba, has been assassinated by unidentified gunmen in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. A close associate of LET founder Hafiz Saeed, Afridi was a critical operative in the region. His death is being treated as a targeted assassination, marking the latest in a relentless wave of killings targeting high-profile terrorists on Pakistani soil. This pattern of unknown gunmen strikes has accelerated dramatically. In 2026 alone, at least 30 militants linked to groups like LET, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and Hizbul Mujahideen have been eliminated in cities including Lahore and Karachi. Recent targets include LET founding member Amir Hamza, who survived a recent ambush, and the mysterious death of Mohammed Tahir Anwar, brother of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar. The systematic elimination of these figures, many of whom were linked to major attacks like the 2024 REC strike, suggests a coordinated campaign. As investigators struggle to identify the perpetrators, the operational leadership of these proscribed groups continues to face an unprecedented internal security crisis. Iranian foreign minister blames US for talks breakdown as he visits Russia. We tracks a high-stakes diplomatic and military crisis as the US. Israel war with Iran enters a critical phase. Key updates center on the aftermath of a failed 15-hour marathon peace negotiation in Islamabad, Pakistan. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance stated that while talks were intensive, a deal remains elusive because Iran refuses to accept core terms regarding the permanent halting of its nuclear enrichment program. Simultaneously, tensions in the Strait of Hormuz have reached a breaking point. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has threatened to severely target any military vessels transients the strategic waterway, claiming full authority over the passage. This follows U.S. Central Command's deployment of destroyers to clear mines in the area. President Donald Trump has countered by warning China against arming Iran and vowing to keep the strait open with or without Tehran's cooperation. As diplomacy falters, the conflict is increasingly impacting global stability, with regional leaders like Turkey's President Erdogan warning that the war is beginning to weaken European security. The following video provides an update on the breakdown of these critical peace talks in Pakistan. Russia is facing a spring of discontent, and Putin is responding the only way he knows how. 4 years into the invasion of Ukraine, Russia is grappling with a spring of discontent as the Kremlin intensifies its transition into a neo-Soviet repressive state. While higher oil prices have cushioned the economy, ordinary citizens are increasingly frustrated by rolling digital blackouts. President Putin recently dismissed these disruptions, which have crippled e-commerce, as necessary operational work to prevent terrorism, signaling that public convenience is secondary to wartime security. The state's crackdown on civil liberties has reached a fever pitch. Authorities recently raided Exmo, Russia's largest publisher, over LGBTQ propaganda allegations, and targeted the Nobel-winning newspaper Novaya Gazeta. Simultaneously, the government is resurrecting symbols of the totalitarian past. The FSB Academy was recently renamed after Felix Dzerzhinsky, the founder of the Soviet secret police, while memorials for victims of Stalin-era purges are being dismantled. By criminalizing human rights work and restricting the free press, the Kremlin is effectively erasing the distinction between modern Russia and its dark, autocratic history.
If you value real, balanced reporting from across the globe, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you never miss the stories that matter. Stay informed, stay aware, stay ahead. Only on Zenith Global News.